frustration, he actually speaks my language, just in better English. But everything he says, I can relate to, you know. I actually have a few questions, because it has been said, and I think I'm one of the people who has said this more times than I'd like to admit it. There is nothing in this country that is going to move unless we have the political goodwill. And I've been fought on this because I'm told, oh, we need legislation and policy. But we do have legislation and policy. I think our country has some of the best legislation and policy in the entire world. But it only remains to be good on paper, and the implementation is zilch. How then do we make sure that implementation is done? Because as a young person, I'd give you an example, and I'm really glad you spoke about this. The BBI report talks about a 7-year tax holiday, but that is based on the assumption that you finished school, you couldn't get a job, you approached the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and you got that funding to set up a business that is now working in order for you to benefit from that 7-year holiday tax. But then when you look at it, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund is not working. All the affirmative action that government has put in place are not working. And if they do work, then it's a child of someone who's known somewhere. It doesn't help the people who it's meant to help. There is zero monitoring and evaluation. So we do not restructure our programs to suit the challenges that we meet along the way. It's just like, oh, I look at you and I figure, maybe you need a pair of shoes. So I give you a pair of shoes. I don't know what your shoe size is. I don't know if you like the type of shoe I've given you. I just look at you and go like, I'm giving you a cowboy boot that's number 17, you know? And then I never come back to ask you, did the boot fit? Is it comfortable when you walk? Does it pinch, you know? Never, nothing like that. And I feel like it goes back to the lack of political goodwill, because we don't have servant leadership in this country. Now, what action is it that we as the people need to take? Because one, we do have a constitution, but we don't have constitutionalism. How do we entrench that in ourselves so that we are better placed to demand for our basic rights, which we are denied? Just basic rights, healthcare, education. Look at our children. They've been out of school for a very long time, and nobody right now is talking about improving the education infrastructure. The BBI does not mention that, does not mention our technological infrastructure. Instead, we young people are expected to be content with manual jobs in the name of kazi mtaani and wheelbarrownomics. Why do we always have to settle for less?
You know, you've spoken about very grave things, and I'll give 3 important individuals who have said important things, then I answer your question. Yash Guy, when we were making the Constitution, said, and I agree with him, that Africa is a graveyard of beautifully written constitutions which are honored in breach. Powerful. My good teacher and friend Hastings Wilfred Opinyo Kothogendo wrote in 1972, the problem of Africa is constitutions without constitutionalism, hollow documents. And lastly, the great president of Chile, Salvador Allende, said of his own country, which is also true of ours, that in Chile we have all the laws dealing with all the things except one law, the law that says we should implement all the other laws. Cynical, but speaks. If you look at the pieces of legislation we have in this country, you'll be amazed. I said before you joined that I grew here, partly here in Nairobi, grew up partly here in Nairobi, partly in my rural home. I was in my rural home up to standard 5 in Usenge Primary School. I did not carry anything. I paid 20 shillings as fees. I never carried an exercise book because it was given at school. I never carried any textbook because it was given at school. When I came back to Nairobi in standard 6, I was here in Maringo, Jericho, and I went to school at St. Patrick's Primary School at 1 every day. We had lunch called buruga, made at the city council kitchen here in next to Pumwani Hostel. The systems worked. Things were fumigated. I was in Jericho on Sunday. last Sunday, just driving, which I do often. The sewage is gone. In Buruburu, in Jericho, in Maringo, everywhere, the sewage system is gone. Are there bylaws? There are bylaws, for example, that say that hand-drawn carts shall not be used in the city center of Nairobi. We have Mikokoteni. So the problem is that there was a time in this country where we had men and women who loved this country. They earned very little. They had no constituency development fund. They had no ward development fund. They just had the will to do what they needed to do. That crop of politicians long disappeared, and the electorate has also been a problem in this regard. I dare want to say, and I'll irritate and annoy some, there is a crop of politicians in Kenya. As long as they are active in Kenyan politics, Kenya will never realize our potential. In Kiswahili, there is a word called uchuro. Uchuro in Kiswahili means bad omen. Kuna watu ambao wana uchuro katika siasa za Kenya. Kama hawajang'atuliwa, Kenya haitafikia vipeo vya ubora. Because wana ubinafsi. They are selfish. It is Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela who once said, when you treat politicians like gods, that is the day you release the devil. Oh, yeah. And I think in Kenya we have done that. And we have done it so badly that I go to church and I see somebody who never worships in my church, and he comes in when the service has started, and the clergyman stops even when they are administering the Holy Communion. To that, I must credit the Muslims. They will never do that. It's only my Christian church that does that. So I'm saying that we have laws. And that is why it is important to energize young people. The people must make a demand. Right now, the only reason why Nairobi appears to work is because of residents' associations. I'm sure you, wherever you live, you have residents' associations. Yes. You are taking care of your security. You are taking care of your own roads. You have your own water. You are doing your own roads, garbage collection, everything. Mm-hmm. The day we make demands, like they do in Europe and America, that is the day these individuals are going to wake up. In fact, if you were to ask me, Nairobi does not need members of parliament at all. Nairobi does not need MCAs at all. Just allow the residents' associations to run Nairobi, and you appoint and they hire a technical arm. Nairobi will change in 5 years. And we will be there. We'll not earn any salary. We'll just do the job. Nairobi will be the city in the sun that it was. So it is, when I listen to you and I feel your frustration, I hope that younger Kenyans are feeling this. Oh, yeah. I hope that I've seen the headline, the photograph in the Star newspaper today, the 30th day of November, a young man somewhere in my rural area in Nyanza, taking an old woman through the process of signing for the BBI. I'm certain that that lady has not read the report. The report has not been read to her. Mm-hmm. She's been made possibly to believe that this is the only way in which our son will become the president, and therefore he's signing for their son to be the president. I saw another one in Western Province, and I'm sure they have been told this is the only way in which one of our sons will become the prime minister, and I'm sure they think they are making their son the prime minister. And I'm sure in Ukambani they are being told this is the only way in which your son will become the vice president, and they are signing once again, and deputy president. So they are being misled, and yet the good book says, my people die and suffer because of ignorance.
Lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. But we will never tire. We will always say it as it is. Honorable Mwangale, I remember, once said, when he had given the report relating to the death of Josiah Mwangi Karuki, said, we have said it. Even if you do not respond, we have said it. We are saying it. And young people rise. I would be very happy if BBI goes on as it is. I would be so happy if a verdict is returned that the Kenyan people have rejected this thing 70 to 30%. It can happen. And no campaigning, no expensive campaigning, just using the social media and doing so on the basis of information, not anything else. But yet there is time. There is time, and I speak to you, my President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. You are the President of the Republic of Kenya. You are the one who has the mandate of the Republic of Kenya. It is of you that it will be said that during your watch, we pass this constitution. How I pray, my President, that you could listen to the cry of thy people, and that you shall hearken to their voices, and they are crying from the hilltops, they are crying from Nyanza, they are crying from the coast, they are crying from the 47 countries. Your own church, the Catholic Church, through the Episcopal Union, have written a letter saying they are dissatisfied. The evangelicals have said they are dissatisfied. The imams have said they are dissatisfied. Everybody appears to be dissatisfied. How you could listen to their voices, my President? How you could, that history may say of you that you are a person who hearkened to the voice of his people and you did the right thing. We can still amend our constitution, but listen to us. The God that you worship, and I saw you recently, my President, greeting the Roman Catholic Pope at the seat of the Roman Catholic Church. How I wish that your visit softened your heart, and that you could now say with the Pope and with the Cardinal and with the Archbishops, behold, I have listened, and I will listen and reason with you. That is all I ask, my President. For my friend and kinsman, whom I respect, Raila Amolo Odinga, history will remember you for making your great contribution to this country. Why is it now that when we are asking you just to give us a few moments, you do not want to listen to us? I respect you. You are an elder. You are a contributor to this country. How you could listen to us, listen to voices from all the 47 counties, listen to young people, young and old, asking, you may be doing the right thing, but there are a few creases that we want to iron out. How you could listen and take solace and wisdom from the Bible in the book of the prophet Isaiah, where it is said, let us come and reason together. That is all I ask. That is all Kenyans are asking. Some are scared to say what I'm saying, but they are beginning to say it because they mean well for this country. That is all we ask. Reason together.